Hey, what's happening? Happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and early. It's not even 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. You know if I start a video this early that I'm fired up about something. It's a cold morning here on the East Coast. I think it's about 5 degrees outside with the wind chill. I think it's below 20 below zero. You could tell when I'm wearing a hoodie, it's cold. All right, I'm fired up about this video. Okay, I want to talk about Lauren Boebert, but one thing, if I could finish this up and still have a little extra time, I'm going to have a little extra nugget concerning vaccines and legal marijuana and alcohol. Interesting. I'll put that little nugget at the end of the video. All right, Lauren Boebert. Okay, she never graduated high school. I think she got a GED. She's a member of Congress. Okay, now you'd think that she would, if she's going to put out a tweet that tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of her viewers, her people are going to see, that she'd at least know what she's talking about, a member of Congress. Okay, so she puts out a tweet and she says that Democrats want to let 7 billion people vote for U.S. president. That's a quote. The Democrats, they want open borders and no laws. That's not a quote. That's paraphrasing. But the quote, the Democrats want to let 7 billion people vote for U.S. president. And then she goes on to say only non-citizens, only U.S. citizens should be allowed to vote. Okay, let's just take a look at this. What she's talking about? She's talking about New York City, very close, it's only an hour away from here. Recently, they passed a law where legally, and I'm going to have all the links below, so you can verify everything I'm saying. They passed a law where legally documented U.S. residents can vote in local elections. This new thing in New York City is not voting for president. It's not even voting on the state level. They can't vote for governor. They can't vote for president. They can't vote for Congress, for Senate, for any of that stuff. They can only vote in local elections, and they have to be legally documented residents. Now, here's the thing. Lauren Boebert is always yelling about people like her, always yelling about the fake news media, the lying news media. You hear that every single day, right? I'm going to get to that more in a second. But she's right. But it's going to be Fox News. They're going to put her on down the road, and she's going to spew this same thing, which either A, she's an idiot, or B, she is flatly misrepresenting the truth and lying. Or both. Okay. Now she says 7 billion people. Now, this just shows that she never graduated high school. The entire world population is closer to 8 billion. So I'm guessing here that she's trying to say that in New York City they're allowing the entire world to vote for president. This doesn't even make any sense. The people that this does concern, it's approximately 800,000 people in New York City, legal residents. Some are what they call dreamers, people that own businesses, going to school, they are working. Now this is interesting, they're working. Now Lauren Boebert always spews off about our founding fathers would want this and our founding fathers would want that. You always hear the MAGA crowd, the Trumpers yelling about professing. It's like it reminds me of the reverends talking about how they know exactly what God wants. Lauren Boebert, she knows exactly what the founding fathers wanted. Well, that's interesting because the founding fathers, the Stamp Act of 1765, concerned taxation without representation. Our founding fathers, people that have jobs here, they pay taxes, they should have a say in who is in their local government. If they're paying into these people's salaries, the local government, they should have a say. Kind of makes sense when you look at it that way. Just 800, they cannot vote in presidential elections. One more time, they cannot vote in presidential elections. This doesn't concern the entire. This is just ridiculous, flat out lie. And you know what? Down the road, she's going to go on Fox News. She's going to go on One America. Her other fellow MAGA people there, the other two, the one in the wheelchair and the other big mouth that she was touring with, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're all going to start spouting this off. Now, what's the reason for this? Because they want to keep pushing this voter fraud thing. This is where it gets scary. They start, I have an idea what gerrymandering means, but it's where they twist around the voting districts so that Republicans will get more than their fair share of representation in their districts. Now, why this is important, and they're doing this. You look at some of these gerrymandered maps of, like, say, Texas, and they look like something you would see on an Etch-a-Sketch. A district over here connected to an area, a thin line over here, and a certain, and this is to manipulate the population so they get more representation. They're only about 30% of the population of these areas, but they get 70 or 80% in the election boards. Now, why is that important? Because they've already started changing election laws. Come 2022 and 2024, these election boards will have a larger percentage of Republicans that can just stop and throw out legal election results. What the people wanted. They could say, oh, well, something's amiss here. And this is the scary thing that I don't see enough people bringing up in the news when they start talking about, they talk about voter ID or not being able to get water in line. Forget about that stuff. This is the scary part of it. That in 2022 and 2024, with these gerrymandered districts and more than their fair share of representation in their districts, they're going to be able to throw out legally voted for candidates. That's the scary thing. Now, these are the same people. You talk about, so these people like Lauren Boebert talk about open borders and all this stuff. They want people to do this legally. You always hear them say, I don't mind immigrants. My great grandfather came here from Italy or from Ireland or from Australia, but he did it legally. He waited 7 years. Well, this is exactly who we're talking about right here. We're talking about the people that have been waiting for 5 years, 10 years, signed up, did everything they're supposed to become U.S. citizens. They're working, they're paying the taxes of the politicians. Well, why shouldn't it's taxation without representation? And this is, and she's an elected person of Congress. It took me 5 minutes to look this up. I'm going to have a link down below. I'll have several links that describe exactly the truth and what she's saying, which are two completely different things. This is something I had to talk about today. All right. Now for the little bonus. Okay, there'll be a Bing Bong. I think it's Bing Bong. I think the media site's called. Article down below. In Quebec, Canada, they passed legislation where, in order to go into liquor stores, they don't call them liquor stores. They call them store de alcohol or something. I should know this because I'm part Canadian French. And to go in legal marijuana dispensaries, you have to show your vaccination card, and the vaccination rates have gone up insanely. It's like, say, from like 1,500 a week to 6,000 a week or something like that. So a way to get people vaccinated might be to hold back their goodies. The link will be down below for that. All right, you guys have a great Tuesday. I'll be back later with another video.